2025 U.S. Open, Novak Djokovic vs. Jan Lennard Struff, Round 4 Key Match Preview. Tennis under the lights in Arthur Ashe Stadium is always a treat, especially when Djokovic takes the court in his quest to become the first player in the sport's history to win 25 Grand Slam titles. If the Serb wins tonight, he will be the first man to reach the quarterfinals at all 4 majors in 9 different years. World number 144 Struff is in the 4th round of a Grand Slam for just the 2nd time in 44 appearances at the majors. His best result this season on the sport's biggest stages was a trip to the 3rd round at Wimbledon, falling in the 1st round in Melbourne and Paris. This year, the 35-year-old reached the quarterfinals at Marseille and Kitzbühel. If he manages to take down the number 7 seed, he'll be the lowest-ranked player to do so at a slam, and will be the oldest first-time major quarterfinalist since 36-year-old John Pearce at the 1960 Australian Championships. Djokovic has won 93 U.S. Open matches, the second most in the Open era, only trailing Jimmy Connors' 98 wins. He has a 35-0 record against qualifiers and lucky losers at Grand Slam tournaments, and is 55-1 at Flushing Meadows against players outside the top 30. The Serb is the all-time Grand Slam match-win leader, and passed Roger Federer last week for the most men's hardcourt wins at majors, having claimed 192 of his 394 wins at slams on hardcourts. Struff has been a seed slayer throughout the tournament, defeating American in the 1st round before upsetting number 11 seed and number 17 seed. He was the number 31 seed in the qualifying draw, and shocked number 1 qualifying seed Arthur Cazorla in the final round to book his spot in the main draw. With a combined age above 73, this will be the men's singles match with the oldest combined age in the 4th round of the U.S. Open in the Open era, ahead of Ken Rosewall and John Newcombe in the 1974 semifinals and Federer and Kohlschreiber in the 2017 4th round. Djokovic currently leads the head-to-head 7-0, most recently defeating the German at the 2021 Davis Cup Finals. The Serb has won all but one of their meetings in straight sets, with their only 4-set battle taking place at the 2020 Australian Open. It's fantastic how good he's playing. He shows us all that you can play tennis, and very, very good tennis at his age. Struff said about his next opponent. Playing Novak will be very tough. Under the glowing lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium, on a night when New York's pulse matched the thwack of tennis balls, history awaited, or so it seemed. Novak Djokovic, at 38, legend, record setter, integrity on 2 legs, stepped across the baseline with one eye on glory, the other shadowed by pain. Enter Jan Lennard Struff, the 35-year-old German qualifier who had already appended Holger Rune and Francis Tiafoe. A man who carries on-court presence as much as power, striding onto the court with the swagger of the underdog and the hunger for more. Road to this moment. Djokovic's path here hadn't been spotless. Battling back pains and blisters, he needed 4 sets to dispatch Cameron Norrie in round 3. Yet, even under physical duress, he remained unshakable, a vessel forged by decades at the top. Struff, by contrast, had carved his route through sheer will. A gritty 5-set victory over Rune in round 2 turned heads, followed by a feisty 3-set upset of last year's semifinalist, Tiafoe U.S. Open. Momentum poured through every forehand and ace, fueling belief that tonight was his night. When history meets ambition, Djokovic's resume read like a novel: 24 Grand Slam titles, a record-extending 64th Grand Slam quarterfinal appearance, and now, the oldest man since Jimmy Connors to reach the U.S. Open Round 4. But prestige means nothing if the body won't hold. The tension, both physical and emotional, was palpable, especially with the quarterfinal landing on his daughter's birthday. A sacrifice he wore like a badge of honor for Struff. The stakes were personal triumph. A qualifier against a titan. Could he pull off the heist of his life? He'd already beaten favorites. Now, he stood on the precipice. The match unfolds. They charged out in a blur. Djokovic's serve, crisp, commanding, clinical, crushed Struff's rhythm, earning 12 aces and 79% success on first serve. Struff's legions of aces, once a lethal weapon, crumbled under the pressure. Djokovic broke serve 6 times, dismantling Struff's defenses with surgical precision. The scoreboard told a story of clear dominance: 6-3, 6-3, 6-2 in just 1 hour and 49 minutes. Yet, the headlines overlooked the silent battles. Physiotherapist Clay Sneitman tended to Djokovic between sets, between shoulder and neck after the first, and soothing his right forearm after the second. Every win here was laced with pain, grit, and resilience. Struff never flinched. He moved like a man possessing everything to gain, every point a statement. But Djokovic's experience, resilience, and unshakable presence wove an impenetrable tapestry beyond the scoreline. When the final point echoed through the stadium, the narrative was clear, but richer than results alone. Djokovic's legacy grows. He became the oldest man to reach each Grand Slam quarterfinal in a single season, extending a record that still dazzles. His 64th Grand Slam quarterfinal stands as monumental proof of his enduring dominance. Struff's courage is immortal. Despite the loss, he left with newfound respect. A qualifier who flirted with greatness, battling through the early rounds with ferocity that belied his ranking. Human storylines interwoven, Djokovic's family sacrifice, Struff's underdog journey, all unfolding under the bright New York sky, reminding us that Grand Slams are as much human dramas as athletic showcases. The road ahead. Now slated to face Taylor Fritz, Djokovic stands ready to chase a 25th major, a target that looms large with every powerful strike. Meanwhile, Fritz, the torchbearer for American hopes, delivered a straight sets win to move into the quarters. But for one night, the match we watched between experience and ferocity, endurance and belief, that was the story. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share.